The day King Aderon said no was the day his kingdom began to break. Not with fire. Not with war. Not even with rebellion. It broke quietly, like dry wood snapping under pressure. The woman knelt before the throne, her forehead pressed against the cold stone floor. She did not cry. That was the strange part. Her voice was steady when she spoke, as though she had already accepted the answer she feared. My lord,
my
she
children
said,
have not eaten
my
in 3
children
days.
have not eaten in 3 days. The court was full that morning. Chiefs in embroidered robes. Soldiers gripping polished spears. Scribes with their scrolls. Merchants invited to discuss new taxes. The air smelled of incense and wealth. King Aderon leaned back in his throne. He was not cruel. Everyone agreed on that. He did not beat servants or order executions for sport. He was efficient. Calculated. A ruler who believed feelings had no place in governance. How many children? He asked. 4, my king.
How many children?
4,
And your
my
husband?
king.
And your husband?
Dead.
2 seasons now.
ago now.
A murmur passed through the hall. Widows were common. Hunger was not new. The kingdom of Ilaro was prosperous, but prosperity never reached everyone equally. The king turned to his treasurer.
How many such requests do we receive in a week? Too many to count, my lord. If I feed you today, what happens tomorrow?
My lord?
Tomorrow, will you not return again? And the next day? And the next? No. My duty is to protect the kingdom's future, not to solve every personal tragedy. Taxes are discussed, roads will be planned, trade routes approved.
King Aderon had inherited a strong throne. His father, King Balagan, was remembered as the builder. He expanded the kingdom's borders, secured alliances, and filled the royal vaults with gold and grain. When he died, he left behind not just wealth, but systems, efficient ones. Aderon admired his father deeply. He ruled the way his father had taught him: think long term. Spend carefully. Never let emotion dictate policy. Under Aderon's reign, the kingdom grew richer. Taxes were collected on time. Trade flourished. Crime dropped. Foreign envoys praised Ilaro as a model kingdom. The palace was always full. The king was always busy. Yet something was missing, though Aderon did not yet know what to call it. He had no wife. No children. Not because he lacked opportunity, many noble families offered daughters, but because he believed marriage distracted kings. Love, he felt, made rulers weak. His nights were quiet. After court sessions, he would walk the palace corridors alone, listening to his footsteps echo against marble floors his father had built. Sometimes, from the city below, he heard laughter. Sometimes arguments. Sometimes crying. He never went down to investigate. That was not a king's place. Or so he believed. Chief Maliko had served 2 kings. He was old now, his beard silver, his spine bent slightly from years of standing in court. He spoke rarely, but when he did, people listened. On the evening after the woman was turned away, Maliko requested a private audience.
Your Royal Highness, may I request a private audience? I hope this is important. It is, though you may not like it. You denied aid to a widow today. Yes, she will not be the last. I know. My lord, do you believe generosity is weakness? I believe uncontrolled generosity leads to ruin. And controlled generosity? Explain. In your father's time, the granaries were full, yet he gave freely during droughts. He could afford it, and can you not? My responsibility is not to make people feel good. And what is a stable kingdom where people feel abandoned? You are dismissed. What do I do now? How do I go about my kingdom issues? My ancestors, please help me.
A week later, something unusual happened. King Aderon left the palace in disguise. No announcement. No guards in ceremonial armor. Only a simple robe and 2 trusted soldiers instructed to keep their distance. He told himself it was for inspection. In truth, it was curiosity, and something else he did not yet have a name for. The city of Ilaro looked different from the streets. The market buzzed with life, but beyond it, narrow alleys told another story. Children with hollow eyes. Elderly men begging beside walls they once helped build. Women trading dignity for bread. Aderon stopped when he heard a familiar voice. It was the widow. She was bargaining with a grain seller, her voice low and urgent.
Please, just half
she
the
said.
measure.
No credit.
Just half the measure.
If I
The
do
seller
nothing
shook
today,
his
what
head.
happens tomorrow?
No credit. A child tugged at her wrapper. Mama, I'm hungry. The king felt something tighten in his chest. For the first time, the question he asked in court returned to him, changed. If I do nothing today, what happens tomorrow? King Aderon did not reveal himself. He watched from the shadows as the grain seller turned away from the widow. He watched as she gathered her children, whispering reassurances she did not believe herself. Without thinking, without calculation, he stepped forward.
I can't help you.
Please, for my children.
I will pay.
For all of it?
For enough to last a week.
Why?
Because a hungry child cannot wait for policy.
May your household never know hunger.
The words struck him harder than praise ever had. That night, back in the palace, King Aderon felt lighter. He had given without losing control, helped without collapsing the system. For the first time, generosity did not feel reckless. It felt right. Words spread quickly. Not of a stranger, but of a kind one. People spoke of a man who paid for grain, another who settled medical debts, someone who repaired roofs after the rain. No one knew who he was. But hope, once awakened, is loud. Within days, people began gathering near the market, waiting.
The stranger is coming to
Aderon
help us
returned
today.
again,
I hear he's around
and
already.
again.
He paid for John's
Each
school
time,
fees
he
last
gave
week. I
more.
can't wait to meet today. Oh.
Each time, the gratitude grew. Back in the palace, numbers began to shift. The treasurer frowned over his ledgers. Your Majesty, he said cautiously, unaccounted withdrawals are increasing. Aderon waved him off. I am aware. But the pattern, I said I am aware. What Aderon did not yet realize was this: generosity without structure is like rain without channels. It nourishes, but it also floods. It began with anger. Merchants complained first. People no longer save, they said. They wait. Nobles followed. Why do commoners receive royal aid while we still pay full taxes? Then the poorest began to argue among themselves. Why him and not me? Why today and not yesterday? The kindness that once healed now divided. And then came the lie. A man stood in the square claiming the generous stranger had promised him land. Another swore the stranger had guaranteed lifetime support. Hope twisted into entitlement. One evening, Chief Maliko returned, eyes sharp, voice grave. My king, he said, you are feeding mouths, but starving systems. Aderon snapped. So I should stop helping? No, Maliko replied. You should learn how. The crisis came faster than expected. A drought struck the eastern farms. Grain prices soared. The kingdom looked to the palace. For the first time in decades, the granaries were low. The treasurer's voice shook. If we continue at this rate, we will not survive the season. Aderon stood alone in the vault that night. Gold everywhere. And yet, not enough. He thought of the widow, of the children, of the promises he never meant to make. For the first time since his coronation, fear entered his heart. Not fear of rebellion. Fear of failure. The next morning, King Aderon did something unprecedented. He called a public assembly. Not of nobles, but of farmers, traders, widows, laborers. He stood before them without a crown. I tried to give, he said plainly. And I failed. Gasps filled the air. A king does not give alone, he continued. He creates a kingdom that gives. He announced reforms. Community granaries managed locally, workforce support programs, education, and tools instead of endless handouts, shared responsibility, not silent dependency. There was resistance. Change always hurts before it heals. Years passed. Ilaro changed. Not overnight, but steadily. Fewer beggars. More builders. More dignity. The widow from the palace day? She became a grain distributor. Her children grew strong. One evening, Maliko stood beside the king. You have become generous, he said. Aderon shook his head. No, he replied. I have become wise. When King Aderon died, the people did not remember him for gold. They remembered him for this. He learned that generosity is not giving everything away. It is giving in a way that teaches others how to stand. And that is how kingdoms last. Thanks for watching. Follow me on IG at input_media and Facebook at Loaded Abiomi Oguntate for more content. Hit subscribe and the bell on YouTube for updates.